It's another edition of Checking In with Hein and Johnny, where the hosts bring in mystery topics that neither host knows anything about until the mics go hot and on the air. We are the show that keeps the host from talking about the weather and World War II 24 hours a day. Hey, Heiny, man, what's on your mind?
Man, it's gone by just like
that. It's as if it hasn't happened.
I feel like I'm zipping through the days at lightning speed.
That, my friend, is a great phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Are you the type that throughout the year, no matter what day it is, you always say, man, the year's gone by so fast, I can't even believe it.
I don't, I just usually look around at the world and say, oh, that kid's in the army now.
I know. The kids that are in college, that are playing all the sports and in the Olympics, I think, are they 12 years old? Everybody seems to have gotten younger as I've become ancient. Do you chuck out food immediately when the expiration date comes up on every item of food?
Oddly, Johnny, I am not.
I did not think that was going to be.
I visit places that put things in cans and bottles, and they say, yeah, no, those dates, things can go a lot longer, especially cans.
Yeah.
Maybe my open meat products, when they begin to
turn gray.
Yes, past the point of perfection.
Grow fur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a few things are smelly, stinky, they go away. But, the Clamato olives, a couple of the bad ones on top, throw those away, dig in for the good nuggets below. How about you, Johnny? Throwing everything away?
100%. I believe those expiration dates are the communists trying to make me throw away my food. But my wife is fully invested in the expiration date. So every single thing, even cheese, which, man alive, if it ain't green, it's going down the gullet.
I mean, it's always aged trees. That cheese has been sitting around for a year or two before they sell it to you.
They absolutely have had it a year minimum, because that's, I believe, cheese. Also, I love the immediate reaction about meat when these folks, the restaurants leave their steaks out for 28 days, just sitting on a rack.
Well, if you get, watch TV, they'll sit there and, oh, hey, everybody, this Thanksgiving, 85 billion trillion pounds of food will be wasted and thrown away. But don't leave your turkey out longer than an hour and a half. And if it's been in the fridge for 3 days, chuck it. Let it join those 86 trillion tons.
Do not trust that turkey.
And that's, I think starving people eat stuff that's much older and they're still alive.
Surprisingly enough, those that you refer to as unhoused would happily eat canned food that's been here since the Nazi bunkers.
I think, well, we don't want to go down that rat hole. But kids at home, remember, throw everything away 2 hours after it's opened and follow those expiration dates to the letter.
Keep you safe.
I think that came from our legal department.
Yeah. The lawyers want a disclaimer for this discussion.
Oh, yeah. Forget it.
So we did enjoy your lengthy chit-chat, which was a surprise the surprise rabbit hole of 2025 was your fascination of UFOs. But what I did want to find out was why you went to the museum when you're a total skeptic. You do not believe in UFOs at all. You would be doing what I would be doing, which is a lot of eye rolling. But why go? What tempted you to go?
Well, probably Christmas shopping in the gift shop.
You needed some glow-in-the-dark rubber aliens.
That's what else do you do in Roswell?
Yeah.
You can go tour the Ochos Miles Bottomless Lakes racetrack.
Ooh.
But that doesn't take that long.
Yeah. That's one short visit.
Yeah, you're in Roswell. Hey, that's what you do.
I love it.
That's
Were you
the
in
attraction.
Roswell because of your enormous power as a CEO and master of the universe?
We were doing a project in one of the largest projects I've ever done in a candy plant.
Nice.
So that was fun.
I'll bet it was cool to see it. I went and saw the Jelly Belly factory near San Francisco. It was fantastic. I loved it.
I wanted to take the kids in, and when we went down, because they were right as it was before it was opening, they would it was pretty loose on who went in.
Yeah.
And then the week we went down, they're like, "Oh, sorry, you can't bring them in." So over to the UFO museum.
That's what does it.
Johnny,
Yeah.
is that a new mug I see you sporting there? What could be on that?
For the show, I think
Or a
it definitely is. Our show is particularly obsessed with peanuts, and it is definitely out of season peanuts Halloween. For sure have had it for a long time. It just made its debut today.
The great pumpkin.
The Great Pumpkin. You still are one of the few folks in your ritzy neighborhood that has a deer license. When and what was the story of your first deer hunting trip?
First, like when I was a kid, or first when
We want both. Two.
two stories.
Yeah. Your fans demand it.
There's not that well. Okay, there is deer hunting.
Yeah.
And so deer hunting is what I prefer to call armed hiking. That is where you go out into the woods, you dress up in the cold,
You
and you
dress
walk
up.
around with a gun, and occasionally you take the gun and point it towards the sky and go, is the safety this way, or oh, it's the other way?
The other way.
And
Which
then-
is the other way?
And then the hunting party you're with, the other members of the party, go, did you shoot at something? And you say, no, nothing. I distinctly heard a gunshot. Really? Nothing. I got nothing.
Nope, not me.
And then there is another process where you say, I've gone armed hiking 25, 30 times, and I've almost pointed my rifle at animals, but never really actually. And I'm pretty good at, like not shooting the elk after as the deer age, they turn into elk, and you don't want to shoot the elk. So I'm good at identifying those. And then you'll take another experience where you just say, let's go shoot something.
I'm sick of
So
I'm sick of costumes on while I'm walking. I'd like to hit something.
So you go to Texas, where you buy a license and you can shoot 5 deer.
They must have a ton of deer.
You go to the game ranch, and the friend says, well, if you see a hog, definitely shoot that.
Yeah.
And if you see people walking up to the deer feeder and eating that, don't shoot them because they're from Mexico.
They're eating from the deer feeder.
You know, they kind of congregate around the deer feeder, and well, at least you catch them on the game cam all the time, walking through the property that's about 30 miles from the border. So they've had a little hike. Maybe they're nibbling on some of the corn or not. Or at 5 o'clock, the bell goes off. The feed comes out, and you blast some deer. And so finally, we went and did that and actually shot something. Now that I would call harvesting, not hunting.
Your brain requires a difference in definition. You do not like the fact that you were just waiting for the 5 o'clock feed.
And
Ding!
at 6 o'clock, you have everything carved up, hung, coolerized, and you're back at the house eating dinner.
Man, I love it.
Didn't even break a sweat. Down there in January, it was 70 degrees.
Love it. And you did not inadvertently kill any folks getting across the border.
I did not. And if they say, if you see anything else, like say you see a zebra, you can shoot that.
There are zebras in Texas?
There are so many animals in game ranches that are keeping the population of African animals up because they're charging people to come down and hunt. And there are so many exotic animals that are not native species. So at that point, they become qualified as just like varmints, like starlings. You can shoot all the starlings you want anytime you want. And so he's had elk walk through. You shoot those because they're not from Texas. They're just something that's gotten off somebody's ranch. And there are the feral hogs, which we didn't see any, but we were kind of like up for shooting feral hogs. And then there are, I don't know, I saw some zebras as we were driving in. There are a lot of little koodoos and springbucks and some kind of Indian antelope. He had some antelope from India. He said, well, try not to shoot those, but if you shoot one, that's okay. I said, we're not going to shoot those. I like to think I'm pretty specific on what I'm shooting at. So how about you, Johnny? You ever do any deer hunting?
No. I think my brothers recognized early on that these hands would never get dirty doing anything. Yeah, I am the biggest non-He-Man in the world. You are Mr. Car Races and Grease and He-Man,
Grease,
Woman
oil,
Hater,
blood, and guts. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am the absolute. I'm Madge with my hands soaking in it. Ooh, you're soaking in it. Yeah, that's me. I am. Other than shooting rabbits, with the Boy Scouts, which I definitely did with a 22, but that's it. I don't think I did anything fantastic in my life. I would be the first person gone in a zombie apocalypse. Except I do, in my old age, need something to keep active. So I do have a compound bow. So I shoot with the bow very often. But my wife will not let me shoot the deer. She loves Bambi, and it kills her heart to see Bambi and her mom sitting by the side of the road as roadkill. So no,
I think, what is there? I heard the statistics once that like 750,000 deer are hit annually just in Pennsylvania. I said, okay, all right. So if I shoot one, it's actually
doing us a
A
favor.
little more humane.
Yeah, it's putting them down without them sitting there suffering.
Oh,
While
yeah. It's brutal.
Yeah, while the mosquitoes eat their body.
It snowed up here. 2 years ago, we had record snow, and all the elk came down Parley's Canyon, and they were just getting slaughtered. They were getting slaughtered on the freeway, slaughtered on Parley on Foothill Boulevard.
Wow.
And so then I said, it's like, does global cooling really help the animal population or hurt it?
Doesn't sound like on Foothold Boulevard it helps them at all.
No, and they all congregated in the Salt Lake golf course,
Oh, no.
and they're there screwing up the greens. So they had some big cattle drive where they went in and ran them all up back into the mountains. And,
Wow.
and
Real
it's a
cowboys.
win. It's a win. The next day, they're all back down there.
They're not that stupid. They're like, hey, Bill, there's delicious green grass on the 14th green. Let's go down there and check it out.
Heavens, if you checked out the buffet over at the clubhouse.
It's delightful. We don't even have to pay fees. It's gorgeous down there. I love it.
You've got to have a lot of whitetail back there running around your yard.
Tons. Yeah, there are, probably every week we see a bunch of deer. My nemesis, for everyone to know, is the horrific groundhog that constantly eats everything. If I wasn't moving, you would see a groundhog eating me. I mean, this groundhog absolutely eats everything in my yard, top to bottom. It is, he has become my Wile E. Coyote. I am so angry at him. So this year, my plan is, I've heard from a friend, if you buy ghost pepper seeds and plant ghost pepper plants all around your garden, around the edge, that they don't like to go past or touch that plant because the leaves themselves have such a high irritant that anything within that little square will be saved, because they did it. I mean, they had somebody gave them ghost pepper seeds for free, and so they thought, well, let's just plant them.
Yeah, there's also the Carolina, they've come up with the new, is it the Carolina ghost pepper? Probably. I should know my peppers better. I know there's the Scotch bonnet or habanero.
Scotch bonnet sounds so attractive. It's
That's what the original name was, the Scotch bonnet of the Hobbit, and then they went habanero.
habanero makes
They look
sound.
like little Scottish hats at the grocery store. Have
Really?
you ever actually seen one?
No.
My children used to watch a television program called Fear Factor.
Oh, where they ate worms and they had the Scotch bonnets, huh?
And so I would come home and my children would say, "Oh, Dad, you really like to eat hot stuff. Look what I bought you at the grocery store."
Some Scotch bonnets.
And then I would have to eat it. And my
Mouth exploded.
and they had a good laugh. Fortunately they could never find, the things like beef penises
Oh, man.
or force me to eat worms
Yeah.
but those were good times.
And that was part of the family fun night at the Morrison house, is making Dad eat disgusting items from Fear. It was Fear Factor Morrison.
I loved it. I miss those days. I miss having them coming around thinking the
Heck
stuff that they thought was funny that I thought, it's like, okay, this is funny. Let's play. Let's go.
That's awesome.
Just good times. Oh, yeah.
It's good to have. We always appreciated having boys because they were idiots all the time, and they matched me perfectly because that way I never had to grow up, which was delightful. I would use the excuse, well, I got to bond with the kids, got to be a good dad, so I have to go to the movies and go play all these games and shoot zombies. So, are you a big gamer? Did you and your boys buy a lot of game consoles and play a lot of games?
Yeah, I mean, well, yes and no. Um, we bought the games consoles. Connor, my oldest boy, won one in like the reading contest. You had to read so many pages. And
Wow,
so he got a, in October, he said, or, at the beginning of the school year, he said,
that
they're
is
having
mine,
this contest and the winner gets a PS2, PlayStation 2. And so he won it.
man.
And then he got it and we played a few video games, and then he turned over to we got him a piano and he became the
Yeah,
piano man.
the man
And
that he
my
is.
older boy played the video games more and still does a little bit, still does that, but it's not, neither one of them are avoiding human contact by hanging out in the basement being, you know, Call of Duty champion.
I will say they are, your sons are among the very few that did not become addicted because where I work, there is not a single adult male that doesn't talk 100% about Call of Duty and first person kill games. That's all they do. All of their off time. It's a very absorbing activity for sure. And it missed me completely.
You didn't,
You
yeah,
and I
but
were,
so you
you
didn't,
know,
your kids, you didn't raise any gamers?
not really.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little
Kiefer,
bit.
yeah, Kiefer dabbles in it, but nothing to the extent of the folks that I work with who are absolutely obsessed. They
I
are.
had, I had a little dipped my toe into the World War II aircraft games when they came out with those.
Mm,
And I could probably, those are, I think that's just great entertainment for me personally. Captures my imagination somehow in a safe and sane way where I don't actually die. So I love those games, and actually I don't have any because I know that they would be just a time waster. It's like putting Facebook on my phone. If I would get nothing accomplished. I would just sit there and look at Facebook things all day. So it's like not on my phone.
I don't. Yeah, I had to take. I do have to take social media. Yeah, I'm maybe like you. Um, Once I get started, it's an addictive personality. So I don't. I also don't have social media on the phone because, man, I'll just scroll. I guess just like everybody else. So the humongous. Oh my gosh, the huge debate about TikTok being banned because they released the IP addresses of the folks, I guess some newspaper reporters. They released those IP addresses, and of course, they traced it to TikTok and said, "Hey, communist companies, you can never, you can never have any company in America that's run by the commies because they'll immediately release everybody's locations." Where do you fall in the commies influencing America debate, Heine man?
Well, to say there's two things. I don't think you want uh, TikTok following around the generals of the army on their social media pages.
That'd be
Uh,
bad.
you know, the information they're going to gather from me, pretty useful. They could, I am somebody that the Chinese communists want to keep an eye on. Very influential,
I know you.
military
So
knowledge and power, and and I would revert back to that episode of The Twilight Zone where the aliens capture Andy Devine. It's the same thing with me. The Chinese will come after me,
find a lot,
and capture Henry-san, and then away they go. Otherwise,
pretty harmless.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Are they going to fly a drone over my house and
use an anal probe to decide where you've been?
Watch me walk out and urinate in my backyard.
That brings up another comment that is quite common, and it's a secret item. All of the females in the world do not agree in peeing in the yard, and every male in America has peed in their yard 15,000 times. And I don't believe that either of those two ideologies cross paths. I'm sure that not too many women have gone into the yard to urinate. But I know,
just look around and say, nobody's looking. Here I go.
Every man has been out in the yard multiple times in every house they've ever owned, taking out the trash. Oh, I wonder if anybody can see me from here. I'll just look like I'm tapping the trash can.
Oh yeah, that's the major CEOs that I've walked out. Hey, can I get you another cocktail? Hal? Oh, you're urinating off your deck. Sorry.
Oh. You're painting in the snow. I'll ask you later.
I'll go back into the party. I'm going to go back into the party because you're.
I didn't mean to catch you peeing off the deck.
Hi, Charlie.
I didn't mean it. One thing I am a little depressed with. Last week, you were in the presence of Pesto, and Pesto was so lazy that he was still asleep, and we didn't get to see him. But everybody clamors for Pesto. They love that little guy.
We almost had Charlie, but he looks like he crawled back upstairs.
He was too smart to come on camera.
Right.
We are the only idiots this early. How many times have you moved in your adult life, Henry?
I'm going to throw out like 4. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times. 5 times. How about you?
28?
No.
Yeah. My wife and I have a problem. We don't want to go to any weddings. We don't want to go to your kid's bar mitzvah. We don't want to send you a Christmas card. So we move every 2.3 years, and we never get any friends. It's a secret. It's worked well for us. We don't want to come to your funerals. We don't want to go to your graduations. We really for sure do not want to know your kids. So yeah, we've decided that's how you become antisocial, Henry. You just never stay anywhere and get to know anybody. That's our superpower.
Man, I'd just be broke from paying inner city to move all the cars around. Those car haulers, every time it's got to get a semi out to load them all up. Ugh.
So tell us the secret that most people do not know. We're a dude pod. We're almost as popular as Joe Rogan. Mm-hmm. How much does it cost to move 5 cars?
I'm going to throw out $9,000 to go like 600 miles. Get a couple of truckloads.
Henry, you are my hero. The money that you used for that's real money.
I'm just pinching myself to go, man, I have that knowledge personally.
That kind of tweaks the heart just a little that you know the cost so casually. Oh yeah, that would be almost 10 grand.
Almost as
Thank you
much
for
as like
asking.
a wedding bar bill at a major hotel.
Oh man. Well, Henry, think of it this way. The money that you've spent moving your vehicles throughout your life, I have used moving my boxes full of crap from every house to house. You're welcome.
Oh,
You can feel better about
28 times.
that. 28 times. Yeah, and sometimes we just shoved everything in a Volkswagen Bug and drove it back and forth 72 times.
Oh, yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah. So you just, your main locations were just Salt Lake and Albuquerque, and you kind of just moved just once in a while between those two.
Yeah, a few little across towns. A few cross towns, somewhere across the street. I guess we can add a time. We lived in a rental for about 3 months.
Kind of bridge.
I could, that was during the time when I was working on my manifesto called Henry Morrison's Art of the Real Estate Deal.
Oh.
Oops, I said a naughty word.
So you're allowed. You are
It's
allowed.
the title of my book.
That's a great, thanks, Boeing. So that was a rough period of time, but it's good because you got a book out of it. You got a manifesto.
And so much accumulated knowledge of the real estate industry.
And why to avoid it. Yeah, I had that as well. Yeah, I for sure, of all the things in my life, that for sure is my thickest book. It doesn't get any thicker though. Now I don't. I don't dabble in the dark arts of real estate any longer. I will never be a magnet of real estate.
And then the wisdom of your 10-year-old children. When you're out of town and the people come through to put in an offer on your home, and your 10-year-old says, Dad, I know they've left you $500 in earnest money, but I don't like the looks of these people.
Nice. They look
And it's like, son, I really should have listened to you.
I wish I'd thought about that a little more.
Your sage advice would have been so well. So that's the title of one chapter is Always Listen to Your Children.
Those people looked and smelled unsafe, Dad. Get a grip. They're losers.
What the hell are you thinking? A $500 deposit?
That's nothing. Oh, one thing that a whole bunch of viewers loved, speaking of that, you, on one of the shows, you talked about the time you met my mom, Gerda, at the door when she had placenta on her hands. And you gave her a voice straight out of New Jersey, and everybody loved it. They died because it was a crowd pleaser. You had Gerda just finishing up getting a tan on the Jersey shore and getting back on the L train and into her house. So it definitely rung a bell, Heine man. They loved it.
Well, I do what I can.
You bring joy to the world. I believe there's a song, Joy to the World. It was written about you. Have you bought your baggy pants yet?
Yes.
Oh, good.
And my wife immediately made me, she says you should get designer jeans. And I'm like, aren't these designer jeans? And she says, no, those are not. Kirkland produces no designer jeans.
You had the guts to say, well, are these Kirkland brand designer jeans? Yes,
Part
maybe?
of the Dad brand.
The Dad Bod brand.
The Dad brand.
See, Chris is so nice to you. She keeps you hip and happening. Unlike my house. My house, we now buy me girdle pants with Spanx built in to try and keep my tonnage. If you can just move the tonnage to different spots, it makes you look beefier, but not husky brand. So
Full hernia support.
Hey,
Just keeping your guts tucked in.
how did you know? Full hernia support seems to be the secret, the little phrase no one wants to say, but they're happy to tell you about the medical thing. Oh, anybody in your house on Ozempic, the appetite suppressors?
It's a question I don't ask.
Oh,
How
you
about,
are wise.
how about you?
I've had
Oh.
O's catchy commercial. I've had a couple people start it, but it took their will to live, and they did not want to. They wanted to kill themselves. So, I believe it doesn't just stop your food intake. The pleasure centers. It also takes away every other pleasure center in your life. So,
Well, I think that's one of the side effects. Well, you're lowering your A1C.
the side effect is, well, you find no joy in anything in your life, which I think is it's a bad thing, because the world is a cesspool of unhappiness. So, to add another piece to that little puzzle,
I don't know how it works.
not
I mean,
healthy.
I know that, well, I mean, if it's, they say that cigarette smoking is the number one cause of cancer, number two being overweight.
Yeah, yeah,
Then alcohol's number three. So,
yeah. Alcohol
hey.
kind of that can be a little rough if you abuse it. It's a little rough on the human liver, particularly, right?
I was reading the book about the presidents, the Bill O'Reilly confronting the presidents thing.
Oh,
And they said that, or it read that James Madison drank a pint, a pint of whiskey every day. And at that time, that was considered moderate drinking.
wow, that's solid. Moderate drinking.
That's, oh, my liver'd hate my guts.
Just to get you through the day, that's moderate, right? just to put up with your work and family, moderate drinking.
That's the whole, roll out of bed. I got to have an eye opener,
Yeah.
and then a bracer, just something to keep me stable while I head into the White House.
I worked with somebody that literally had to have a drink every 2-3 hours. Like had to have a drink just to stay with us. So
I've known some highly functional people, very intelligent, technically savvy on equipment, kind of, like experts in the nation, that before going in on a sales call, boom, have a shot.
yeah.
And it's like, and eventually it catches up with them. But
Yeah.
and the world is a lesser place for it, because these people who are very skilled suddenly die.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah, it's the controllable thing, right? The controllable thing that could keep you alive.
I better have something. Oh,
See you next week. Thanks, Heine.
just
Talk
happened
you
to
next
be
week.
an open bottle of wine right here.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Checking In with Hein and Johnny. You can follow all things Hein and Johnny by subscribing to Checking In with Hein and Johnny anywhere you listen to podcasts. Checking In with Hein and Johnny is sponsored by Conveyors and Equipment. They supply, design, and service all types of conveyors, belting, and material handling equipment since 1972. With 3 locations to serve you, Salt Lake City, Albuquerque, and El Paso. Find them on the web at conveyequip.com. That's ConveyeEquuip.com.